Episode 3. This episode is called Complications, another episode I love. Spoilers for everything live-action X-Men leading up to and including this episode. The episode is rated TV 14 or something like that. So will this video be? Let's dive right in. So let's see, the start of the episode. Yeah, the previously on, I was a little bit surprised that they didn't show Reed, disintegrating the file cabinet, but, they gave us the flash. He had the flashback later, so that, of course, explains. There's no need to show it twice. They're, trying to be economical with the amount of, running time they have for this episode. Yeah. Let's see. I think. Yeah. See, I'm struggling to remember what came first, so we're just gonna do this in the order that I think of it. Yeah. At one point, Reba goes in to, talk to Andy, and he pauses the game, and says, and she's like, well, I might need your help, and she gets the remote and turns off the TV. And, he's trying to keep up the conversation. You can just hear his inner monologue going, I gotta take the disc out before otherwise it's gonna completely blow the disc. Oh, did she turn off the console too? Did I lose my save progress? Unsaved progress. Crap. Yeah. Moving on. Let's see. I forget if I said in an earlier video, since this is not the first time we hear that the baby's name is Dawn, but I can't help but think that Lorna named it Dawn after the dawn of the age of mutant supremacy, so that's a good, and yeah, Marcos points out, oh, Dawn in Spanish is Aurora, which is what he wanted the baby to be named, which I guess might be inspired by that earlier episode where, they used their powers together to create Aurora Borealis. At this time of day, at this time of year, in this part of the country, localized entirely within the field created by their powers. At least we get to see it. Let's see. Yeah, really cool to see the Morlocks. I gotta say, the moment that they mentioned the sewers, that's where my mind immediately went. But that is really cool, and we get some more detail. We hear about this, yeah, she had her voice box cut out, just horrifying. And yeah, real life hate crimes, some of the things that bigots have done to the people they hate. It's unreal how cruel they've been. Let's see, yeah, it was really nicely done with, trying to hide the place from them. They have illusions and they're sending them going in circles, and specifically call out the green goo, which we learn later is for surveillance, which is quite clever because even if you're in a sewer and you have something you need to do there, if you see the green goo, you're not going to be like, I better wipe that off, I don't like seeing that. No, you're not going to want to touch it. So yeah, let's see. And yeah, I feel like the Morlocks in this episode are sort of this middle ground between the Mutant Underground and the Inner Circle. They don't really want yeah, yeah, honestly, anything I say, I'd basically just be quoting Erg. But yeah, I felt they did a really good job with that in the episode. And let's see, yeah, I can just really love. I should probably stop saying it, but I really love Clarice's remarks. I would argue that almost every show is made better by a really snarkastic character, and she's she's so great. Let's see. Yeah, and after talking to the Morlocks, I appreciate, we get, again, drip feed so that they can't just immediately solve everything. They have to have enough plot for, I think there's 16 episodes this season. This is only episode 3. but yeah, the what was it, the health department thing, that's something to go off, with Rap Critic and Muse. And once they have this information, the Morlocks are still kind of like surrounding them there, and they're like, can we go? I don't know. Can you? And let's see. I think that might just about cover. Right, I really appreciated finally John tells Clarice what Evangeline told him, and yeah, it's everybody understands why he's really bothered by that. Right, I like earlier in the episode when he's like, what, my knuckles are a little bit bruised, they'll heal, and she's like, I'm not worried about your fingers, dude. Are you serious right now? It's at the risk of, I can't stand gender essentialism, but that did feel very like true to life. Like the guy is, working out his frustrations in a violent way. She's trying to help, and he's like trying to, what's the word? Like not make as big a deal of it as it obviously is. We are also later in the episode had, Reed finally comes clean with Kate, and she points out, so 6 months this has been going on and you never told me, and yeah, it's sadly true. There's a lot of cishet men who just try to hide all their problems from, their loved ones, even ones who are really willing to help. And yeah, she might have been able to help, she might still be able to, but, it could have been helped sooner. Let's see. Yeah, the whole thing with Reed and Lauren was quite good. Kate, again, just, I'm not saying all, but a lot of women, and I'm not saying it's genetic, it's socialization, but a lot of women are just better at communication than a lot of guys. And because she's the mother, the teen daughter might not be, going out, hey dad, can we talk? Or let's spend some time together. I guess she did say she wanted them to talk more openly, but yeah, he doesn't listen as much because of the whole parent-kid thing. A lot of parents struggle to listen to their offspring, but yeah, he's more willing to listen to his wife, and yeah, it was some really good scenes with the two of them, and we get another thing about how she knew she had powers, she was hiding it from him. There's that thing, he said, I'll protect you because I'll prosecute the mutants. And yeah, that means that she didn't tell him that a guy tried to grab her. She didn't feel safe around her, with sharing something really personal with her own father, and because of that, he didn't know about this, abuse she failed, assault that she faced. So again, very true to life. There are a number of, that's one of the places, the whole mutant allegory, it doesn't neatly fit onto every single minority all at once, but I don't really see that as a weakness. This is one of the cases where it very much fits the LGBTQ plus thing. You could see how, like, if this was a story about a sapphic young woman, she might say, this guy tried to grab me because he saw me, with another girl or something like that. And let's see, I think, yeah, really, at one point, Kate calls, is like, where's the filing cabinet? Why is there crack in the wall? I thought we agreed we were only going to keep meth there. And yeah, he loses control of his powers, melts the steering wheel. And he's probably like thinking, Jesus, take the wheel, and Jesus is like, you're on your own on this one. I got my own problems. But he manages to slam on the brakes, but not quite fast enough to not crash the car. And I do appreciate afterwards, she's like, no, you're in no condition to drive. That really, again, that's cishet man thing. He's like, dude, you can't control your powers right now. You can't be holding the steering wheel, you know. But at least he does pretty quickly accept that she's going to drive instead. And I think that does cover that area. Some great scenes with Jace. You know, he struggles at first, but does eventually manage to get to talk to one of the superiors at the police station. And then he listens in on the radio and really oversteps, you know, and yeah, when he gets back, he's like, you know, the guy's like, I talked to your former superiors. We know all about you. Go home, you know. And, you know, we're again seeing Jace struggle with the obsession like he did in season 1. He just can't let these people go. And let's see, I think that does just about... Yes, so Marcos and that whole storyline, you know, we get yet another flashback. The show is fond of those, especially opening episodes with them. Which, again, I'm not really complaining. It's just, it's a thing. And, yeah, we see, you know, his father, you know, he says, oh, I didn't abandon you. Yeah, you told me I had to hide my powers. That's the equivalent. You know, if you, and yeah, again, slots very nicely onto LGBTQ plus metaphor. If you're going to live under my house, you do not, you know, engage in that sinful behavior, that kind of thing, you know. So, yeah. Let's see, and right. Honestly, at first when he's like trying to get into the hospital, I thought he was gonna like whip out a gun or something, because that was his cartel running days, I think. 6 years prior, you know, but no, he gets out money and is like, yeah, you know, lots of churches around the world have accepted way worse as long as you know, give some money. And let's see. Sometimes I'm a man of simple pleasures. I quite enjoy the line, once you wouldn't be caught dead dying in a place like this. That's yes. Let's see. Which, like, I mean, that is the most perfect application of the phrase "wouldn't be caught dead." Like, yeah, if he dies there, he's gonna be caught dead. So that really, yeah. Let's see, and we have yeah, you know, he goes to drink, and he's got the rattle that he made with his powers, you know, and yeah, the waitress is like, oh, you're going for Father of the Year. And he's like, I don't think that's going to happen because he's not in the baby's life. And, you know, she's like, listen, I don't know what trouble you're in, but you don't stink of anything that I don't like, so I'm going to help you out here. And, you know, he's hearing his name. And I don't know why he ignores it at first. I guess he's just thinking, that doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to let it, you know, but... Yeah, the triplets get quite insistent, and he's like, that's my name. I better go make sure they don't wear it out. And yeah, you know, he's about to attack them, and he says something along the lines of, you're going to be one triplet short. You know, that was, yeah. And yeah, they tell him, you know, the baby, and he gets in the car, and, you know, they try to get him to put the bag over his head. Yeah, and we get another. I hope they keep this up. I hope they do this episode after episode, because I'm digging it. We get another like telepath censor swear word. Like, you know, one of them looks at him like, that's not very nice. Like, there's no. He didn't just like think these girls are kind of jerks. He was thinking something that's like R-rated. Is it immature of me that I kind of want there to be like an R-rated director's cut of these scenes where we get to hear the disgusting things they apparently think but don't say? But yeah, they do eventually get him to put the bag over his head, and later he arrives, and let's see. Right, I also like, they don't immediately jump to let's bring Marcus in. The doctor says, like, I'm sorry, we've done all we can. I've never seen a case of jaundice like this, and yeah, there's not really anything. Of course, he's gonna be able to fix it with his intense light powers, And let's see. Like, hypothetically, maybe you could solve it with like a laser or something, but then you gotta calibrate that laser. He's gonna know exactly what the baby can handle, and calibrate it exactly with his power. So yeah, he gets there, and he also interrupts Reba. Like, I swear, she has no luck trying to explain herself without getting interrupted by people. I jest, but obviously we're thinking like, oh, dude, no, don't interrupt, don't defy her, because we've seen what she does. We saw she killed a room full of her own allies in order to get more power, and that started with her being like, wait, did he interrupt her, or did he just start slow clapping after she was? It was something like that, I think at least one of them interrupted her in that scene. Anyway, yeah, yeah. She explains to him, and he's like, Andy, can you believe this? And Andy's like, dude, she's holding my Xbox hostage. Just please do what she says. Isn't that the plot of Triple X? Anyway, and yeah, we have he does, go in there, and Lorna's like, please don't make this harder than it has to be. And, yeah, he uses his powers, and, the baby, who I can't help but notice is, like, constantly wearing a beanie. Aren't you a little worried that your kid's gonna grow up to be Tim Pool? I mean, I feel like that's a nightmare. That's like, probably rather the kid grow up and do drugs than that. Just please try to keep him away from unbelievably obviously fake donors that feed Russian propaganda. I do love that they're like, we are victims of this. I mean, you were targeted, that's true, but how did you not see through this really obvious, yeah, I guess one of the tenets of Tenet was not, let's try to apply a little bit of rational thought when someone offers us an obscene amount of money. But yes, the baby, he heals it, and we see that it's like, with its fingers, it's holding on to one of his fingers. It's just adorable, and that is a thing that, like, I've never experienced it myself, but I've heard, I believe I've even seen with my own eyes. Babies will, like, hold on to the fingers of someone holding them, and something like that, and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't leave the baby. I mean, I literally physically can't. This kid's got an iron grip. Lorna, did you give birth to baby Colossus? And yeah, it's not easy, but eventually, the triplets do manage to get him out of there using their powers. And he pushes back, and they're like pushing harder, and he manages to break out of their control. Holy crap. Yeah, that's, that is love, intense love. He's at the end of the day, like, they believe in their cause, but yeah, a really intense feeling of love, of not wanting to let someone you love down. And Lorna even says, you're not your father, which I appreciate. He told her, so they have that close of a relationship, or had, before the end of season 1. And let's see, we have but yeah, he manages to get past the triplets, and he shouts, Lorna, they're lying to you, they're in your head. And I feel like she's gonna have to think on that in episodes coming up, because that is, yeah, like, she really doesn't want that to happen. She does not want to be losing, Marcos and the Mutant Underground if it's not 100% her own decision. And let's keep in mind, when she was recruited, the triplets were right there, like, they weren't, like, their eyes weren't glowing, but they might have done something right before they walked into view, or something like that. Phone's going off. And the let's see, I'll look at it later. Yes, yeah, I really love how they staged it, because it did look like, for a second or two there, I thought he might be able to get to Lorna. But of course, Reba was very close by, steps out. I'm loving the effect they're doing. Like, when she's using her powers, like, the camera will, like, jitter. I'm not 100% certain if it's, like, an post effect, or... Yeah, I mean, did they film it like that? Whatever. It looks great. It's a really great way to communicate, in addition to the audio and the intensity on her face. And yeah, she manages to actually use his power to burn his own arm, which, like, yeah, that will legit slow. Like, if you've ever accidentally burnt part of yourself, it's very intense. It is not something that you just brush off, and yeah, he collapses on the floor, and she's like, Andy, get your friend to the elevator. And he's like, yes, video game console. I mean, Reba, who has my video game console. And let's see, that is also like, okay, this kid respects her, because he is a teenager and he paused a video game the moment that she said she needed to talk. So that's, yeah, he respects her, or is terrified of her and her ability to confiscate any and all media. Now, let's see, yeah, I mean, she changed the Wi-Fi password right after the whole League of Legends social media, or yeah, social interaction thing with, like, yeah, he didn't respond, but he did get the number and then call that number, and the whole, yeah. I think that might be everything that I had for this one, but yeah, another really, really solid episode. Yeah, I'm... It's so cool to see, like, the Morlocks. We got to see him in X-Men 97, but the original 90s X-Men the Animated Series, I guess is the full title. But not really in the movies, as not particularly. Did we see even one? I feel, was there maybe, well, there's the bone growing guy from Last Stand. I feel like he might have been a Morlock, and I think, did they meet in a, no, that was like an abandoned church, that wasn't a sewer. Yeah, I think there might have been some Warlocks in some of the movies, but they didn't make like a thing out of it. I really appreciate they made a thing out of it here, and he had an M burnt onto his face, which is of course a visual reference to the. See, last time I talked about it, I messed up. I believe it is specifically the Days of Future Past, that time travel story. Mutants are marked with an M. Which is of course very reminiscent of like the Nazis making Jewish people wear the Star of David. So, but yeah, bringing that in, like, I don't remember. I haven't read every X-Men comic. I doubt even one person on the planet has, but I don't remember reading one where Morlocks of their own volition marked themselves like that. I think that is a reference to Days of Future Past, but yeah. Let's see, and yeah, they even mention, those of us who can't pass, which, that is something you know, the terminology used by, for example, the trans community, and you know, that, yeah, used by the trans community when this episode first premiered. So I figured that might be a reference. And that is the thing, like, some of the people who've had really horrendous hate crimes against them are people who, you know, look like they're belonging to a certain minority. And, for example, trans women of color are frequent targets. And yeah, I don't think it was random that several of the Morlocks were people of color.